Hey, what's going on, everybody? In this video, we're going to take a look at how to export a section view from Revit and how to make part of it come past the section view in Photoshop, as well as add some poche on our section cut and then wrap something in a spherical form. And so this is the atrium of a library I've been designing for a thesis, and this is the kind of the concept for this media globe that exists in the middle of the structure. The top half of it would actually be a little bit larger in diameter to flash for the roofing to stop water from penetrating in, and then the bottom would be a giant half sphere projection screen. That there's a company that can make up to 30 feet wide globe projection systems. And so I want that to create an ambiance in the building, as well as a multimedia platform for events or news or anything else that would be going on inside this library. And the globe also serves as a central bearing point for navigating the library. What I have here is a 3D view of the building, and I'm going to go and on that 3D view, I would right click and say duplicate view with detailing. And so with the duplicate view, in the settings of the property, you can go down and check section box, and that will give you a 3D section box that pops up. You just have to click on that and just bring it in to where you want your cut to be on your structure. And I want to get about halfway. I can also look at it from the top while I do this as well. So I can click on the top, and that might help me define where the center is going to be just a little bit better. Once I have that where I want it, I can go to an ISO by clicking on the corner, or I can just drop that down a little bit by pressing Shift and my mouse wheel button. And I can bring this in even a little bit more if I'd like to. And once I have the model that I want to make my diagram with, I can go and export that. So if I wanted all of this, I can. Or if I want to make this even a little bit cleaner, what I can do here is show my crop box window. And in this crop box window, I clicked on this icon in the bottom. I can just go and clean this up even a little bit further, just like so. And then I can click on that 3D section box, right click and say hide in view element. To get the image of the full globe, it's important that we make a duplicate version of what we were just working on. So I'm going to rename this just to organize. I'm going to call this section 4 diagram demo. And then here, I'm going to highlight that globe. And I'm going to then duplicate view with detailing. Deactivate the section box now. So I'm going to click on the view, and we can uncheck section box. And that should bring everything back. And when I zoom in and out, it shouldn't affect my zoom here, which is very important. We don't want to orbit or zoom. We want to keep everything at exactly the same size. And then go to temporary hide isolate and go isolate element. And then now we have this ball at exactly the same. I'm going to turn the shadows off. So now I have this ball that I can also export. So when I drag these into a sheet, which I named views for diagrams, and in this sheet here, I'm going to turn off this section box by hiding it. Right click, hide in view element. Now I have, when I bring this into Photoshop, I have the sphere, and then I know where to place this one. I'm going to bring it right over the top in Photoshop. And so going into Photoshop, you'll see that the layers I have going on here, and we'll just turn these off, my base image, and on the base image I made the opacity about 40% to just not have it overpower the drawing. To get the section lines, you would just override, so like to get the poche on the cuts in Revit, you would just have to override the view. So going in, you press VV on the view, and you would highlight everything, click on cut pattern, and override that to a solid fill in black. And then when you go and bring that into Photoshop, it becomes a little more clear on where you cut. And then going into the next one, I overlaid the globe image right over the top. And in this one you saw I forgot to do the shadows, so I had to edit that out. You can take the magic wand tool. There we go. I would take the magic wand and I would click outside the globe. Control-Shift-I inverts your selection, and then I could just zoom in with Alt, mouse wheel, take the polygon lasso, press Alt, click once, and then come around and I'm just going to do this fast. I can edit out the selection of the shadow, just in case you had that in there or anything else that you didn't want. And then what I can also do is take that away, go to the image right below, come back in, and by pressing Alt, I can click once. I can come in, down, around, out, and close it. And then now I've made a bump out for the roof that is in front of the globe, so I can keep that effect. And then now I can just go and make a new layer, and with the new layer I would go and just take a paint bucket and fill that new layer in, and that becomes a selection window that we can use to crop images in. And so I'm just going to delete that one because I already have one right here. And now when I go to place a new image, what I can do is go up to File, Place. I can choose an image from my desktop that I want. So for example, this art for globe. And with the art, I can just go and hold down Shift and resize it real quick right over the spot that I think it's going to land. And then I can do a magic wand on the globe selection. And then I come up to art for globe and I do a clipping mask. And then we want to make this art look like it's warped and kind of curved. And so I'm going to go and unlink these two. So I've unlinked the mask, then I click directly on the image and go up to Edit, Transform, Warp. And with warp I can start to bring in the corners to warp this into look more like a globe. And so I do the 4 corners first, and then I kind of bring up and mess with the other edges after the corners. And so if this was a 360 projection, I could do it this way. And if I don't want it to be 360, maybe I just want the top part, what I've done is I've made a top globe selection, and what I can do here is use that top globe selection to then crop out the top of the art for globe, and I can just kind of add that to the mask. So here you see I have this mask on here, so I use the top globe and I can just use a paint bucket to use black to just black out the clipping mask on the top. And so now that clipping mask is a bottom globe clipping mask. If I wanted to get more of that art back on there, I can just click over to that, go to Edit, go to Transform and Warp, and I can just start to adjust, how much is being shown from this image, right towards the bottom. Also thinking for events, news and weather, and just like a ticker, programs for the library as well. And so that's the approach that I've been taking, and I hope you enjoyed it. And don't forget to save and subscribe to the videos if you want to see more tips and tricks like this one.